Hi everyone, long time no see on this channel anyway. I'm sorry I haven't filmed a video in a while. You know I had computer problems and you know I went through some personal problems and I wanted to get my other channel up to par first, and now I'm going to be working on this channel. I actually logged into this channel tonight and I had a message from somebody and it just inspired me to make a video right away. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about me first. My ex-husband used to hurt me physically, mentally, and emotionally. He loved to tell me how fat and ugly I was, to throw things at me. One night he threw a plate with a steak knife on it, and the steak knife caught me right here in the forehead. I was facing the other way, and I said, "Oh God, Jake, I'm bleeding." And he said, "No, you're not. Bullshit, you're not bleeding." I turned around and there was blood running all down my face. Like, I have never seen that much blood, but head injuries do that, I guess. I found that out later. I've never seen that much blood though. And he, instead of saying, "Oh, are you okay?" or "Oh, I'm so sorry," immediately ran to grab his son and said, "Oh, we gotta go." Like, he was willing to take his kid on the run and leave me there for dead. He additionally told me that the only way I would leave that relationship was in a bloodbath. And one time he purposely hugged me hard enough to break a rib. He literally broke my rib. Did I report him? No, but I was going to. The night that he stabbed me in the head with the steak knife, I called my mother to take me to the hospital. He said, "No, I will take you to the hospital." On the way there, he said to me, "If you tell anybody how you got that cut on your head, and if you tell anybody what happened tonight, I will make sure that you never see your children again." So you can take that a threat any way you want. You know, was he going to hurt me so that I would be dead and my children wouldn't see me? Was he going to hurt my children so that I would not see them? What was he going to do? He scared the living daylights out of me. And one night he hit me in the face and the neighbors called the cops. And the cops laid the charges on him and there was nothing I could do about it. There was no way to drop the charges. Once the cops laid the charges, that was it. Now, I don't know if it's the same in the US, but that's the law here in Canada. Now the woman doesn't charge the man, the cops charge the man, and there's no way the woman can drop the charges, because there were too many cases of women dropping charges after the fact and then going back to the man. And anyway, that's just my background story. Now, I got a message from a girl who is a friend of mine. She's a YouTube friend, but I still consider her a very good friend. She's been very nice to me. I met her when she first started on YouTube. She's a really sweet girl, and if you watched her videos, you would see that she's a very meek, very mild, very sweet girl. The other night, she gets in a car with her ex. They're arguing in the car. He smacks her in the face, so she smacks him back. Then he proceeds to elbow her in the throat. Now, you know, that could be a dangerous situation. Okay, so he does that, and the whole time he's threatening to kill her in a car accident. He's because they're in a vehicle, right? So the whole time he's threatening, "I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna get in an accident, we're both gonna die, blah, blah, blah." So right there you have physical abuse, you have emotional abuse, and you have mental abuse, because he's threatening to kill her, he's threatening to kill himself, he's physically attacking her. She defended herself once and smacked him back. So when she got home, she told her parents what happened, which I think is very commendable, because how many girls, young girls, does this sort of thing happen to, and they're afraid to tell anybody, and they don't tell anybody, and you don't know until it's too late. But she went straight to her parents, and I think that is so commendable that she knew that she should do that. And then her parents proceeded to call the police. And do you know what the cops said? The cops said that there was nothing they could do. No abuse had taken place, and that if she wanted to charge him with harassment, she could, but he could charge her too. And that she needed to think about it, because she, basically by deciding whether to charge him, she was deciding whether or not she wanted to go to jail. No, seriously, what is wrong with the system? It's obvious from the smacking that he physically abused her, from the threatening the car accident, that he was emotionally and mentally abusing her, that he was using power over her. Like, how can they not call that abuse, and how can they say that no abuse took place? I'm wondering how many times a girl goes to the police and is told the same thing that this girl was told, or how many times a guy goes to the police and is told the same thing that this girl was told. As I was reading her story, I got to wondering, how many times have the police done this to people? How many times have the police not protected people? How many times have you heard on the news about a woman who was either gravely injured by an abuser, murdered by an abuser, or who is missing? And how many times, but I know there's lots of stories about women missing, but here's my point. How many times in those reports do you hear there were several domestic abuse calls out to the house, or we had several calls about a domestic assault to their house, or there have been assault calls before placed to the police, or things like that? You know what, you hear that quite a bit, and you know, I never really thought about it till I was reading her story, But how come the police didn't do anything the first time around? And I think that in our society, when something like this happens, the police should be held accountable. So if a woman goes missing and they know that she was abused by her ex several times, and they know that there's a possibility that he is a person of interest or a suspect, I think they should be held accountable for not doing anything and not laying any charges the other times they went out there. I think in the cases where a woman is murdered by a man who is an abuser, and there were calls regarding domestic abuse and the police did not do anything about it, I think that that police officer or police officers involved should be held accountable. I think that they should be held accountable for the things that they don't do. You know, how often do we hold the police accountable for police brutality and things that they do? I think it's time we started also holding them accountable for the things that they don't do. And what has this girl learned from all this? She's learned that if somebody abuses you, you do not defend yourself. Self-defense is no defense, is what the police are teaching her. She is learning that if somebody abuses you mentally, physically, or emotionally, you don't tell anybody because you could be the one to go to jail. You don't call the police because they might send you to jail. Like, exactly what kind of message are the police sending out to our young girls? That is just completely wrong and complete and utter bullcrap. I'm sorry, but it is. That guy should have been charged with assault. He should have been charged with emotional abuse. He should have been charged with mental abuse. I'm sure for elbowing her in the throat, I know it was not assault with a deadly weapon, but I'm sure there's something they could have called that. I think he should have had several accounts of several charges there. And I think he should be in jail right now awaiting his arraignment hearing. Unfortunately, that's not the circumstances because the police told her, sorry about your luck, but we're not doing anything as far as we're concerned. No abuse took place. And as far as we're concerned, if you charge him, he's going to charge you. So be very careful before you charge him or we'll send you to jail too. I think every police officer involved in that night, and I'd love to know where she lives, because I think every police officer involved in that situation should be raked under the coals for this. What happens tomorrow if she's on a missing persons report? What happens tomorrow if she's been seriously injured by this guy? Now, I'm going to give my friend a little bit of advice. I probably should have sent her a private message, but I'm going to give her some advice right here just in case there's other young girls going through this. Or older girls too, because it happens to the best of us, okay? Everybody goes through stuff like this. I've been through it several times, and that's why I told you the story about me before I went into what this video was actually about. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a restraining order against this guy. Here in Canada, you go to your Justice of the Peace to do that. I don't know who you go to there, but you need to find out and you need to get a restraining order. He has already mentally, emotionally, and physically abused you. If you get a restraining order, he won't be able to come within 500 feet of you without being charged. So you need to go do that. You do not need a police report to do that. I want you to promise yourself and promise your parents that you will never get in a car with this guy again. Because you don't know what will happen. He made serious threats. What if he does get mad? What if he does drive off a bridge? What if he does purposely drive into another car? If he drives into another car, not only is he damaging you and him, he's damaging innocent people's lives. So promise, I wish I could say promise me, but promise your parents and promise yourself and hopefully promise me that you will never get in a car with him again. I want you to go to your police station. I want you to go above the officer's head that you spoke to. I want you to go to a supervisor or a sergeant or somebody like that. If they continue to give you the same old song and dance, tell them fine, don't lay charges. If you're that adamant against it, don't do it. But I want you to put everything that happened in a report. I want it documented for future reference. It's very important you do that because then if something happens, he'll be the first suspect they look at. And also, if he does something to you again, then there's already documented fact on file and they're more likely to lay charges. And this is the most important thing. And you're gonna think that I'm crazy for saying it, but I want you to see a counselor. There are centers for abused women, and I know it was just a small incident, but it was an incident and you were abused in 3 different ways. And it may not have hit you now, the impact of everything, but it will traumatize you emotionally over time. And by speaking to a counselor, even if you only go once or twice, it will help you to deal with your feelings and what happened to you. Until next time, talk to you later.